Well, hello and welcome. I am going to come in here today and do something a little fun. I'm going to talk about my routine. And this is a common question I get, obviously, from people I'm working with and friends, people that know obviously that I live with diabetes, and they're curious as to, what supplements I take, what my HRT routine is, hormone replacement. There's a lot of curiosity, right? So I understand that. So I want to just come in, and this is kind of a hodgepodge episode, a little bit about me and what I'm currently doing and to see if this can inspire you or give you some ideas. Again, I want to remind before I jump in and share about my morning to evening routine, I want you to be mindful. What I share is what's working for me. So, again, this is what I'm doing, but it's not a reflection of you or what you need to do. Again, this might give you some ideas. It might confirm some things that you're thinking about, but definitely talk with your doctor about everything and anything that I share today. So don't make any changes without medical advice. So this episode is for women with type 1 diabetes, or really any type of diabetes who happen to be going through menopause. That would be me as well, looking for real life routine that works. And again, I'm going to just kind of go over what I am currently doing, and we can go for there. Let's see. And then I'm going to talk about my internal and external habits. So I'm going to go a little deeper. So I'm going to do an overview of really pretty much the supplements and the type of things that I'm putting into my body every day. And then I want to talk about really what fortifies me and really what keeps me steady. And those are those internal and external habits. I know it sounds a little wonky when I'm calling it that, but you'll get it once we dive into it and I further explain. So before I dive into all of this, I want to talk about diabetes daily management because obviously that's why we're here. We all have a insulin delivery system. Again, if you are currently on daily injections or daily insulin, and as many of you may know, if you're a regular listener here, I was multiple daily injections for 42 years. So that was the first 42 years of my life with diabetes. Again, I was diagnosed coming up on 43 years ago. Actually, it's already been 43 years. Yes, I celebrated it in April. I've already lost track of what month and year it is, right? So I did switch over to the Omnipod 5 this past October. So that's October 2024. And overall, it was a pretty easy transition. No real bumps in the road. But one of the things that I definitely noticed was my overnight. So, and this is one of the things I hear a lot of people really loving about Omnipod 5 is that it holds them steady all night. And it definitely did hold me steady. The problem is that the basal just couldn't, or the algorithm, the way it was kind of learning my body, it never gave me the morning blood sugar that I wanted to wake up with. So I was continuously waking up with high blood sugar. Again, high meaning 140, 160. So this is milligrams per deciliter. And again, that is just my personal time and range goal. Okay. So this is not a judgment call on what's acceptable for your morning fasting blood sugars. I typically like a little tighter control. I want to wake up around 100. That to me is a good number to wake up at. I feel better when I wake up at that number. So this is something that I was continuing to work on with my pump therapy, my insulin pump trainer, and my endo to get these settings dialed in, which I did. And during the day it worked beautifully, but at night I just couldn't. And up until now, I really can't get this dialed in the way I like it. So I've done something a little bold. I've turned off, or I should say, I switched over to manual mode while I'm sleeping. So about 10 p.m. at night until 7 in the morning. So that 9-hour stretch. I'm usually up a little earlier than that, but I just set it at 7 just to kind of keep it there just in case I overslept. But That's when I put it in manual mode. So I've been tweaking my basal settings accordingly so that obviously I don't have too much of a drip while I'm sleeping. We know that's not good because we don't want to run low. Again, the manual mode is disconnected from the CGM data. So it is just delivering insulin based on your basal settings without the input of your continuous glucose monitor or your blood sugar data. So that's when you really got to understand your basal, and you've got to really understand your body and all the other things that may impact your blood sugar. So these are things, again, I worked on, I worked with my doctor on, and I continue as I am recording this today. I am still working on this. I'm liking it so far, but I have had a few nights where I've actually switched it back to the auto mode. Again, I'm still working through it and just trying to find what's going to work for me long term. Now, another side note, back in April, I actually took a pump break. I said, I think I'm going to jump back to my InPen, get back with my Tresiba and my Tresiba, which is my basal, and then I was doing Fiasp as my short acting. And I love my InPen. That's that smart insulin pen. Love it, love it, love all of the tools, cool things it comes with the the insulin on board and giving you all that information again to better manage. And I did great. Again, jumping back over to MDI to take that break was great. And then I got back on the Omnipod 5. It was right around the beginning of May. So I'm back on it now for, gosh, close to 2 months now. So again, it's nice to have that choice, and I'm very fortunate. And I don't jump back and forth just to make it difficult for myself or whatever. I do it because I can. I have the equipment, I have the insulin. I'm very fortunate. I do not take that for granted, and I'm able to do that based on the fact that I have it available for me. And I'm so routine, and I'm about to dive into how routine I am because I think this is going to paint a picture of how I'm able to do this. In other words, going back and forth from MDI, multiple daily injections, to a pump with some confidence, just based on everything else that I try to keep dialed in the best I can. And that's really my goal here. And it's what I coach too. I meet ladies and we get together and we look at what they're doing and we kind of deep dive into it a little bit and just to see some things that they can shift and move and maybe switch up a little bit. Again, one or two easy things at a time, and then you sit back, assess, and see how it's impacting other areas of our life. And that's what I do personally. And again, that's what I love to do as a coach as well. Okay, so let's dive into my morning time. So I get up in the morning and check the blood sugar, right? We all tend to do that and make any adjustments that I may need. I do generally take a feet to the floor, right? We call that the bolus. And I usually 2 units. Again, as I was saying, depending on what that blood sugar is when I'm getting up and out of bed, that number is going to determine that as far as what that dose will be. And I drink a tall glass of water with some, it is called, and I'm already looking at my supplement list here. So I add something to that just to jump ahead just a little bit because I was going to mention this in a minute. But the Mega IgG. So this is a gut barrier and healthy detoxification. So this is a powder I put into my water. And this, if you remember back, and if you don't remember this episode, back in earlier in the year, I did a couple shows about GI health because I really was experiencing my own issues a year ago. And part of this was healing my gut and getting just that gut lining and the permeability of my gut lining back into balance. And that took some work. So I continue to be feeding that good bacteria, taking care of my gut lining. And this is what I do in the morning. So it's a tall glass of water with some Mega IgG, and I swig that back. So again, coffee's brewing. And then I go to my drawer, my supplement drawer, and I get out my supplements for the day. And this is what I take in the morning. So morning is a multivitamin, a vitamin D3 with K2. So it's 4,000 IUs every day. 2 omega-3s. This is a really, really good supplement. It's good to get those fatty acids and to get the omega-3 and omega-6s in balance. And again, you can get this from fatty fish and good food, which I try to do as well. But I like getting that extra supplement just to kind of fill in any gaps. And the other one is a CoQ10. Again, that is good for our vessels and heart health and just moving, just helping to move blood through our vessels. So that is what that is. And those I take out and put on a little piece of paper or a little piece of paper towel on my counter. That's my reminder. And that sits there until after I have breakfast. So those are sitting there waiting for me. But while I'm doing this, this is my first hormonal dose of the day. And that is testosterone. So I have a compounded testosterone cream, which I take 1 pump of that. So that's how it's measured and prescribed for me. And I rub that on the inside of my leg and I wash my hand very carefully. Again, those are, hormones that can be transferred to other people and other things. So you definitely need to wash your hands really well after doing that. And that's it. A lot of people ask, so what does it feel like? Is it gooey? Is it wet? I'm like, no, it kind of goes on like cream. It's almost like just putting on lotion. And you just let it dry and do its thing. And I'm not necessarily putting clothes on, or I should say my daily clothes on until, for another hour, because I'll get to what I'm doing after I get all my supplements. So there's no need to have to worry about, in my case, putting clothes on over the testosterone that was just rubbed into my legs. So again, no gooiness or discomfort with that. So I'm going to just elaborate on my digestive enzymes that I'm also taking throughout the day. So I take 1 digestive enzyme. So this is with any meal that contains animal protein. And that's usually lunch and dinner. I don't always have animal protein for breakfast, but let's say I have chicken or some fish or say some sirloin burger, whatever it is, then I will take one of these enzymes. It's just a 1 pill within 30 minutes of eating, if I can remember to do it that close. Otherwise, it just gets down right before I start to eat. And the bonus of this digestive enzyme is it contains pancreatin enzymes with protease. And again, I'm no chemical, or I should say, I'm no chemist or expert in this. And this is definitely something that we've talked more about. I know in episode 64, that's way back when, with Ginger Vieira, we did talk about these other hormones that our pancreas makes, and these are some of them, that just kind of no longer work anymore, because guess what? We have a faulty pancreas that is, it's not giving us what we need. So that's another reason why we really got to protect and heal and do some things, not only gut healing foods, but also some supplements if and when you need them. But these 3 enzymes, the amylase, the lipase, and the protease, these are part of this digestive enzyme. So again, it's kind of building up that lining so that when the animal protein, which is harder to digest, right, comes into the system, these are going to help facilitate that. And again, all about prevention, right? Doing these things on the front end so we can avoid what happened to me a year ago, and we're not chasing the bacteria or the symptoms of the bacteria in my case and the parasite that came up, but instead we are fortifying it. We're keeping it strong. We're doing all we can to prevent any sort of infection that may happen. And finally, and this kind of skips ahead, I'm kind of all over the place just a little bit with my supplements because I take them morning, lunch, and dinner time, and I actually have some bedtime ones too, which I'll get to in a minute. But after dinner, I take an Atrantil Pro. So that's a probiotic. Again, It's a sporobiotic, highly recommended. And a lot of these supplements that I'm mentioning, again, because I use them, I believe in them, they are third party tested, and I don't recommend anything that I don't use and have experience with myself. So these are all good examples of that. And you can find that right here on right here in the show notes. You can see my favorite supplements, and you can click over to my website and check all these out. They're listed on my full script dispensary, and you even get a discount and free shipping if you decide to jump on and create an account and order what you want when you want. No strings attached, no account fees and auto ship restrictions and all that stuff. That's I try to avoid all that myself, so it's just real easy. Okay, bedtime supplements. We're going to jump ahead to bedtime. So 2 magnesium citrates. So I take magnesium at night. I take an estrogen cream. So this is my estradiol, a compounded cream that gets rubbed in. So it's 1 pump of that. That is on the inside of my thigh again. And again, you just rub it in, wash your hands, done with that. Again, no yuckiness, no stickiness. It's just like putting on lotion. Promise. And the other hormone is the oral progesterone. So again, the estradiol and the progesterone are both taken before bedtime. And as we know, progesterone helps with sleep. So that is highly recommended. I'm sure your doctor will agree that progesterone should be taken before bedtime. And occasionally I take melatonin, and that's just something I'm kind of playing around with right now. I'll take 3 milligrams, again, a really good source melatonin, and that helps to induce good sleep. And you're going to learn more about my sleep here in a minute, because I am very, very protective of my sleep. I know all good health and insulin sensitivity begins with a good night's sleep.